Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. So yeah, movies, games, and TV. That's the name of the game, and there'll be stuff from the week. I can say that much. If you're watching us on YouTube and you're one of our lovely YouTube subscribers, that is awesome. If you're watching us on YouTube and you're not a YouTube subscriber, well, yeah, probably less said about that, the better, yeah. You can subscribe on audio platforms, iTunes, SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcasts, so don't feel like you can't. So yeah, here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Just blow out everybody's ears there whilst taking great joy in sitting down. So whilst I'm taking great joy in. Delicious. Delicious, delicious, delicious. How are we all? Good? Well? Living life? Living large? Any of the above? Well, let me tell you this much. You are in for a jam-packed podcast, ladies and gents. Jam-packed. Let's just get cracking because this one is a doozy. It's weird. I know that often I talk about like the process of podcasting, but it can be that thing that you write something down like the day after you do a podcast, and a week later you're like, "Wow, that was a week ago." Helpful when it's still relevant. So, yawn for emphasis because. The puppy, I think it just gets referred to as the dog now, progressively started deciding that the true answer to life is to get up half an hour earlier every single day. Managed to get to the point where he got up at 10 to 5 one day. Yeah. You know something's wrong if the time you get up has got a 4 at the beginning. So yeah, there was that. I feel that like exhaustion now is something that was in the rearview mirror. I honestly don't know how I keep going. Between, the dog that gets up earlier and earlier and earlier, the brother-in-law that's trying to kill me using exercise, the child that won't sleep, and also fitting in 9 hours of work a day. Yeah, I'm real sketchy on how I'm still going at this point in time. Maybe it's black magic. Yeah, let's go with that. Speaking of we're a little dog heavy at the start of this one, boys and girls. So if you don't tune in for the pup dates, then you might want to skip ahead. Got home from a run the other morning, and Leon said to me, the dog might have eaten a raisin. I'm like, okay, probably not the end of the world, I thought. Yeah, I've googled it, and raisins are fatal to dogs. What? Yeah, they can get this thing called grape and raisin poisoning, and it's fatal, and you should take the dog to the vets immediately. So that was how I started my day. Turns out, and something that's interesting to know, everybody on the internet that was like, oh, you must take your dog to the vet immediately, we're all vets. Anybody else on the internet who was, talking about this was like, if it's a raisin, then probably be okay. People were talking about their dogs eating like entire Christmas cakes and being fine. And there's a woman who's like, my dog died from raisin poisoning, but it did eat a kilogram bag of raisins. So, so there was basically, the basic sort of advice, proper advice, is keep an eye on the dog for 24 hours. And as long as it doesn't do anything on a long list of things that it could have done, then he's probably fine. He or she is probably fine. Lo and behold, he was fine. Couple of the super early mornings that I've been having have started with me coming down to find that the dog has removed all of the stuffing from his bed. Again, another one of those why? To the point that over the course of 2 mornings, there have been 3 incidents of him pulling the stuffing out of his bed. So he has now had his bed taken away from him. He is now left with a single, it's kind of like a pillow, but a big pillow that's, it's a dog bed. That's what it is. The centre of it is even stitched in the shape of a bone. This was an addition to his bed to help with, ironically, the pulling the stuffing out of his bed. Now that he has had his actual bed removed, he seems to like it a lot more and just basically sleeps in his bed. So now it's like, did he just hate that bed? Had the bed wronged him in some way? So yeah. Speaking of working out, I'm going to bore you with some working out stuff now. The idea of the stuff that I've been doing with my brother-in-law is it's all around improvement, steadily getting better as time goes on, stronger, faster, all of that sort of stuff. So I had to do something the other day that was like a kind of a little bit of a test to see where I was at. And I had to do 3 reps of deadlift, but put the weight up high. So I did 3 reps of 100 kilograms. And when I originally started, my 3 rep max was 80. So in like 3 weeks, that's gone on 20 kilos. What I can say is I'm pretty sure on the second one, part way through it, I think I travelled through time. It was tough. It was, I don't know how to explain it. It was a little scary, a little sketchy, That sort of thing. Doable, but... And all I could think was like, how did Eddie Hall lift 5 times that amount? It was proper ropey. It was real dicey. I'm glad I only had to do 3. Obviously, it's that thing, it does show an improvement. So, there's that sort of thing. This was followed by, I think it might have even been the next... Was it the next day, though? Was it? Might not have been. But a following day, excuse me, I had the first enjoyable run. In some ways, in a lot of ways, I have seen some vast improvements in my running through this program. However, not all of it is an improvement. Something weird going on with my mile time. It seems to have gone up loads. Either that or I've dreamt that I could do a mile quicker. I don't know what's going on there. Really weird. But I've seen, improvements in various areas in my running. One of them being is that I went out for a run and I actually found it quite enjoyable to do, which that in itself was an improvement. Saturday I completed a 4.19 mile run. A little bit of a... I keep saying to people, I was like, I had a bit of a jog down memory lane. Trying to work out where I could go to actually get the 4 miles in. And Leanne suggested to me that I run down, like basically a big long stretch from where we are, where the house is, and I looked at like the furthest point, and it was basically 2 miles. I was like, well, to be fair, you've got a point there. If I run all the way there, that's 2 miles, and then if I run back another 2 miles, guess what? 2 and 2 does indeed make 4. But it featured a wide variety of memories. So ran past Fulford Golf Course, which I remember a time of going to not do work as such, but I got to drive a giant forklift truck just for fun. But I also remember getting chased by security because me and my mates were riding our bikes across the golf course. That was kind of part of the fun. A little bit further down, there's an area that used to be a garden centre. Have this giant greenhouse in the centre that a girl that I went to school with, her family owned it. And then I don't know whether they went out of business or whether it was just closed down, and then it's just been left to sort of be reclaimed by the earth. So it's just like hugely overgrown. Ran past my school, one of my mates' old houses. Ran up past my doctor and the church. Then ran down past another friend's old house. Ran past the shops where I used to do my paper round. Really weird because like the row of shops has like all moved round. But like the shops that were there when I used to sort of do my paper and stuff are still there, but they're in different places. Like the newsagents has gone from where it was, but now it's like 3 doors down. The like mini, it's not supermarket, like the mini, like a mini shop, sort of like a mini supermarket, I guess. That's gone from where it was, but there's like a shop like that a few doors down. So weird. So yeah, 4 miles. Got 3 miles into it and was then flagging. I think largely because a little bit psychological, largely because that's the most distance I've run recently, and largely to do with the fact that that was the point that it was all uphill. It was absolutely uphill for a good fair amount of it, but managed to finish strong, finish fast, and yeah, got the just over 4 miles done. One of the things about it was that mile time wise is way up there, so the objective is going to be to try and get that time down. So watch this space for updates on fast and slow running. It was not to date this podcast, as we always say, for whatever reason, because what difference does it make? It was Father's Day yesterday. I always feel a bit weird about Father's Day. Christmas and birthdays are times when you absolutely have the right to celebrate. Birthday especially, but Christmas, everybody gets the opportunity to celebrate. I feel like Father's Day is a bit of a... I don't want to say con, but it's almost like a second birthday. So yeah, I had all my girls around me for some of it. If I'm honest, and I do try to be honest when I'm doing this and talking about this, I was a little upset because my eldest had been invited to go to a birthday party on Father's Day, which personally I felt was a little out of order. Now, I have to get this out there straight away. If it had been any other day, I'd have had no issue whatsoever. Especially if it was like time that I was designated to spend with them. I'd have been fine with it. I've done it before. I've taken her to birthday parties when I'm supposed to be spending time with her. I've dropped her off. I've picked her up. I don't have any issue with that. But why Father's Day? So, she's got a birthday party on Father's Day, and it just upset me a lot. And I'm not going to lie, it has continued to upset me. I am still upset by it. I can't help that. I can't, people say, can't help how you feel about things, and that is my feeling. That is how I feel. I'm upset. I was upset. Obviously, I got to spend time with my other daughters, and me and my middle daughter, we went and did some stuff. Typically it was that whole, let me take you and get you a treat, which ended up being like a carton of juice. Certainly it didn't break the bank, but she was happy and she thoroughly enjoyed it, so that's all that matters. But yeah, I was just a little upset by it, and I think I'm still a little bit upset about it. Because it's just the one day of the year that you actually want to spend. You want to. That sounds wrong. The one day of the year that you actually want to spend with your children. No, it's that one day of the year where you want to spend time with your children, and it's kind of about you. And that sounds incredibly selfish. But for me, the most important thing and the most important aspect and all of that is just getting to see them and getting to spend time with them. That's all. That is all I really care about. So yeah. Anyway, I had some lovely gifts. I got this thing at the moment about like personal gifts. So I got a really nice card. It was one of those like personalised cards, so it had like a picture, like a drawn picture of like it was like a little girl, and then there was like a man, and then another little girl and another little girl. And it had all of their names across the bottom, and it was like everybody's different hairstyles. But it was really nice and I really liked it. And my eldest had written it, and she'd written a nice message in it. That was nice. And then I got a box of non-alcoholic beers, and some of them look amazing. Some of them I had particularly requested. If anybody's been diving into the pursuit of hoppiness, if you check out the non-alcoholic episode, I sampled a non-alcoholic beer on that podcast, and it might possibly be my absolute number one favourite beer. I got 6 of those for Father's Day, along with a few others, which I was super happy about. I got a key ring, which was a kind of one of those "This Daddy Belongs To," and it had all my girls' names on. A bottle opener to open all of my wonderful bottled beers. And I got American Werewolf in London on Blu-ray, which was kind of ironic, because I was like, "Oh, thank you very much." And a couple of the girls were like, "Oh, let's have a look." I was like, "No, I really don't think that's a good idea. You don't want to see the front cover, because the front cover has been done in a particular way, and I don't think it's suitable for children." We'd had some plans for things to do, and with the weather and not having everybody here, basically we didn't do any of it. So yeah, it was a little bit of a non-starter as far as the day went. Still nice, don't get me wrong, still a nice day. Still got to spend time with my children, just not all of them. I mean, I know how I sound. I know I sound super bitter, but it's upsetting. I don't see them as enough as it is, and then to not see them at specific points is really hard. So yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm taking this one back. I feel it's okay. I feel it's my right to be upset when I don't get to see them at certain times. But hey, let's move on, shall we? Let's do the right thing and move on. I've watched little bits of TV. Again, I'm in that kind of area where I'm a bit like, I feel like I've watched a film in the last week, but there's nothing written down on my list, and if I have, I couldn't tell you what it was. That kind of area. But I've watched little bits of TV. Unfortunately, one of the things I've watched is I finished Invincible for the third time. So I'm not going to talk about that. What I am going to talk about is one morning, my youngest was watching something on Disney Plus, before going out. I don't remember where she was going, but she was going out and she was watching it, and it was coming to the end and she left. So I was like, oh, I'll just, as you do, you got to come out of the film and turn the TV off and stuff like that. And rather than just pausing it and turning the TV off, I actually came out of it. And for some random reason, I was like, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to see what is on Disney these days. I wasn't exactly looking for a Disney film, but I know with all of the Stars stuff, they've got all the stuff. So I was like flicking through. And then I stumbled on something and I was like, oh. I found a TV show on there that was a TV show that I used to genuinely love. That TV show is Scrubs. I was a huge Scrubs fan. There was a point in time where I was super excited because I managed to get hold of like the Scrubs soundtracks and stuff. I have lost many hours of my life to watching Scrubs over and over again. It's a show that I find, in the space of a one sort of 20-25 minute episode, you can be uncontrollably laughing and uncontrollably crying in that space of time. It is very much a show that pushes those two boundaries. There is a series of Scrubs that reminds me very much of a series of Ray Donovan, because when I watched them both, I literally just spent the entire episodes just crying my eyes out. So I was like, oh, Scrubs is on here. Oh, part of me thinks I knew that. Oh, okay. And my thumb was hovering over the button. And I was like, do you know something? I wonder if this still stands up now. I wonder if this is still as good as it was back then. I might just have a little look. So I pressed play, pilot episode started, and 8 minutes later I was like, shit. Because it is as good as it was, and I knew there and then that I was probably going to end up losing hours of my life to that program yet again. As it is, I've made a fair old dent in the first series. Very much like amazing the stuff that comes up so soon in that program. So that's been interesting. Like, oh wow, it's got great characters in it. I always used to say about Scrubs that the weirdest thing about it was that the main character was the weakest character in it. So JD, hands down the weakest character in that program. But I think that's, that can often be the case. Yeah. It's been a very enjoyable time. I used to know someone who used to say, when you watch like long-term programs, like you sit down to watch something that's like 10 series of like 25 episodes a series, that by the time you get through so much, that the people in it, the characters in it, they're kind of like your friends. And when you sit down to watch it again, it's like reconnecting with old friends, and it does feel quite a lot like that. So yeah, there's that. It's like equal parts like nice to get back to watching it again, but also I'm like, man, I've seen this before. I should be doing something else with my time. But we can say that about a lot of things in life, really. As I was saying, I can't tell you I've watched a film. And what that means is I've watched loads of films in the last week. Do you want me to tell you about what happened in Hercules? Or Aladdin? Or Big Hero 6? That's kind of the problem. Because there's so much going on. Like Moana was on earlier. It's like, freaking hell, must have seen this 60,000 times at this point. Hasn't been on for a while, which has been a welcome break. There was a point where I was like, can we watch anything but X? What was the one I was saying the other day? Oh, The Lion King. Jeebus. If I have to sit and watch that again, freaking normal. So yeah, I was going to make a comment on something. I think it's a subject I know has come up before. I don't know if it's something I've discussed podcast-wise. But is it me? Or does anybody else kind of wish that when you've seen like a great film or a really, really, really good film, do you wish you could kind of like erase it from your mind so you can watch it again? Reason I say this is I remember watching Big Hero 6 for the first time, and I was absolutely convinced that I knew who the bad guy was. And I was like, oh my god, there's going to be like this real twist where the person that you think is like has been like a good guy all the way through it actually is the bad guy. And they're like a proper bad guy, like that. Like all of their good intentions, actually, they were like a real bad guy. And I was very surprised when that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case, and they revealed who the bad guy was. I was like, oh my god, I never realised it was going to be that guy. And then I was kind of like, oh well, that just means that person was just good. But I have it with a lot of stuff. It's that like I got American Werewolf in London, which is something that I actually asked for my birthday. I own multiple copies of it on multiple different media formats, but I wanted the latest version of it. And I'm very much like, you'll never be able to recapture that time that you watched it for the first time. Weirdly, I was actually having a conversation today about a film that's popped up recently that I have seen, but it's like almost the opposite of what I'm talking about. I basically don't remember anything about it. There are certain films I know I've seen, but I just don't remember any part of it. It's usually a sign that the film is terrible. But every now and then there's just a film that comes along that I just don't remember anything about. I looked, a film popped up on one of the streaming services. It was Sunshine, the Danny Boyle, was it? I think it was him. And I was like, man, that's a great film. It's very Event Horizon. It's a great film. I really enjoyed that film. Oh man. And then I saw a picture from it. And it showed it having Chris Evans in. It's like, I don't remember Chris Evans being in that film at all. And then I started going through it and I was like, other than like 2 or 3 key points in that film, I don't think I remember all that much about it. So I've put it on my to watch list because I was like, you know something, I really enjoyed that film, but right now I don't think I could tell you all that much about it. So I'm gonna attempt to give that a whirl at some point. So got some game stuff. I really made an effort with the game Biomutant. I really wanted to give it a good go and see how I got on with it. I felt I'd treated it badly in the past, and I felt like I needed to really give it a chance. Man, that game is a mess. For the few small things it does right, there is so much stuff it does wrong. Like, just reams and reams and reams of things that are wrong with that game. I made a note of some of them. Super long loading times on that game. Just, it takes so long to get into it. And just, you have to pray that you don't die. It's like, do you want to load the last save? It's like, I guess. I'll go and put kettle on, shall I? It also has an amazing feature it has an autosave, which apparently doesn't do anything. Like, it's always coming up on the screen about autosaving, but if you die, you have to go back to your last manual save. So all that means is you have to save often, which is my second gripe with the game. My second gripe is to save it. You have to go through like 3 screens that take a couple of seconds to load each screen, and then you have to save it. Once you've saved it, you then have to come out systematically through those 3 screens. You can't just like press one button. It takes so long to save the game that you basically don't bother because it takes so long, and then you die. And then you really wish you had have saved it sooner. The problem with it is that there's so much wrong with it. It's a game that's desperately trying to be Zelda Breath of the Wild. It uses this sort of function where various areas of various different like elements, like heat, cold, toxic, and then there's one where you need like an oxygen thing. So basically you need to collect suits to be able to go into these areas. A hot suit, a cold suit, an oxygen suit, a toxic suit. But there are no indicators on the screen to tell you that you've gone into the area, other than the fact that it just basically tells you that you're dying. And then you have to manually equip every piece of the suit to then be able to roam through that area. More often than not, you're dead before you realise what's going on. And let's not forget the really long loading times. I really, really, really tried with this game. I have to hold my hands up at this point and say I have put it to one side for now. And what I meant by that was I stopped playing it and didn't play anything else because I'm really down on the games market. That took 2 or 3 days. What then happened was I was like, I've got to play something. Let me look through the list. I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to put Assassin's Creed Valhalla on and give that another go. Like the 8th time I've tried to play that game. I put it on and I played it, and for once, whilst I was playing it, I wasn't hating it. And then right at the back end of me playing it, it did the thing that the whole game is built on. Go to place, get part of mission, travel 3,000 whatever unit, meters, feet, God knows what, in a particular direction. Get there, have small interaction with NPC. Now travel for another 2,000 to 3,000 whatever units somewhere else. That is that entire game. So I just started, I was like, for want of a better way of putting it, fuck this. So I just started fast travelling anywhere I could, or getting close to areas. And that made the playing of it ever so slightly more bearable. Like I say, right at the end it was like, you've travelled all this way to talk to this one person who has one thing to tell you. Now you need to travel all this other way in a different direction to presumably go and talk to another person. It's like, oh, fuck off. So I played it for a bit and then I turned it off. It was a short version. I will go back to it this evening, see how I get on. I find I'm at that stage now where I think I just want it to be finished and gone. This sounds awful, but I am really in that I don't want to have to play it. I just want it to be finished. Certainly not a glowing review of that game. Another game I've played, not exactly a current game, but I played Injustice. I played all the way through the single player. Something that I've attempted to do before, but I found it quite difficult. I don't know if it had an update at some point or if I was just playing it on the wrong difficulty, but its single player was certainly a lot easier this time around. Taking me a little while, but I have completed the single player now. I've been umming and ahhing about getting the second one, and it's popped up recently for £11. And I have, in fact, today purchased it. So that is on its way. I think it's going to turn up tomorrow. Something that has been a big event has been because my eldest is big into DC superheroes and villains and things like that. I thought I'd have a laugh and see if she wanted to play 2-player with me. I think I mentioned this last week about not letting children win, things like that. But she's got quite into it. To the point that we had to go yesterday for the short amount of time that she was here. And she'd managed to get into a sort of thing where she'd found like a special move. And it was a special move that I couldn't do anything about. She is very much on the edge of being able to beat me at that game. So much so that last night, whilst I was like about to put this on or I was turning something off, I looked at Injustice. I was like, maybe I need to do some practice. Maybe I need to learn some of the moves because I'm very much a button basher. I didn't, but I'm going to see what the second one brings. I might encourage her to try and play through the single player mode. What it probably means is I might have to teach her some of the few moves that I've found, and I imagine if I do that, she will then absolutely destroy me at that game, which she's very close to doing now. So yes, we'll see what Injustice 2 has to offer when that turns up. My fear, as with any fighting game, is that it turns up and it's too hard, and then it's kind of a non-starter. So, there we go. That, ladies and gentlemen, is it. I know at the moment that podcasts are wildly ranging in time. We're still suffering through the whole pandemic in some way, shape or form. But you know, you gotta do the best you can with what you've got. So that's what I attempt to do. So there we go. That is that for this week, and I will catch you next week. So there we go. What do you think to that? Another one done. Excuse me. So, YouTube subscribers, you're awesome. You are the best. SoundCloud and iTunes subscribers, you are also the best. The rest of you, I mean, you're good. You're good, but you could be great. You could also be winning prizes. So if you're not currently a subscriber, subscribe, drop us a comment, and we'll send you a prize. A little gift in the mail. How about that? So there we go. That's it for this one. And until next time, I'm going to say bye and I'll see you then. Bye.